Hey, welcome back to the Sims Resource. So today we're going to be doing a Spring City Cottage speed build. So this build is kind of inspired by the cottagecore trend and how a lot of people are taking it into their own hands and redoing their spaces based on the trend, because obviously we all don't live in super cute cottages in the middle of the woods. And so if you live in a city, it makes it a little bit harder to make everything feel kind of cottagey and cute and foresty, but you know what? It's possible, and I've been watching people on YouTube do it and people on TV, on HGTV, so I thought I would give it a shot myself in The Sims in San Myshuno. So as you can see, I've gone with a very yellow kitchen here. These are counters from Cottage Living. I just think they're super cute and so bright. I actually ended up, I think, putting in 2 stoves here. When there's a really big kitchen, I just feel like it looks better to have 2 stoves because sometimes it just fills in space in a way that I don't otherwise know how to. And I honestly think that it's more convenient to have 2 stoves because sometimes when you have a lot of Sims in a house, they really get into it trying to cook things at the same time, and then everything is covered in like the half-made food that you can't throw out with your mouse. So can you tell that I have trauma here? So I put 2 stoves. There's also a lot of extra counter space, which is nice. And then for the living room, I went with a lot of pinks and blues, as you'll see. I really kept it pastel because this is a spring cottagecore build. I know a lot of cottagecore is a lot of browns and greens and neutrals, and I know that all of those colors are still springy, but when I think spring, I think like really light pastels, like again, pinks and blues and yellow pastels, so this is just what I went with. I also got rid of the tile floor and the carpeted floor. I don't know about you guys, but I don't love carpets. I've never actually lived in a house with carpets because I just think they're really hard to clean and keep clean. As someone who has had pets my whole life, it just isn't my favorite area of home design, I guess, or decor, is that a lot of houses built in the 90s have full carpeting and I don't love it. So I replaced it with some hardwood because I can do that in The Sims in a much faster way than actually getting a full carpeting replaced, because believe me, it's very expensive. And isn't that the beauty of The Sims? You can renovate to your heart's content and it won't cost anywhere near as much as it actually would in real life. Anyway, I actually found a really cool CC fireplace to put here that actually has like some shelves built in, and I thought it was so cute. So I had to put it in. I think it's the Tribeca fireplace, if I'm not mistaken. It is a piece of CC from TSR, and I would highly recommend it. It just feels so different than all the other standard fireplaces, and I'm someone who loves to put fireplaces in my game, like absolutely loves it. And I found that a lot of them start to get kind of repetitive, like all my builds start to look the same when I'm just using the same ones over and over and over. So CC ones are a really great way to kind of spice up the interior design of my game. And then as you can see, I went with the pink couch and I went with the sectionals from Dream Home Decorator, which is probably one of my favorite packs when it comes to decor because all the furniture fits in so many different types of spaces. I don't really ever have to worry about like, oh, will it go in this space? Because even though it's a cottagecore space, the sofa from Dream Home Decorator still goes because you can color it in all these different swatches. So even if you don't like to decorate like in the game, like with the structure of having like a client ask you for things, I would recommend the pack if it's on sale because it is really cool when it comes to the actual furniture and decor that comes with it. It's just super useful. I'm also adding a shelf, and this space has a lot of room for knickknacks. As someone who really loves like cottagecore and stuff like that, knickknacks are just so cute, and they're such a way to kind of change the vibe of a room from one like kind of basic room to one with a lot of character, because knickknacks, like, they're small, they're inexpensive, but they really just make the whole room feel lived in. Like, you know, most people don't live in houses that have like completely bare shelves and like completely empty cabinets, and so by adding all these little pieces of clutter, everything really starts to feel like, oh, people live here. I mean, your Sims do, and so they start to kind of feel like people again, which is one of my favorite parts of the game, is kind of making my Sims feel like real people, because that's how I like to play my game. Obviously, if you don't, maybe you don't want that much clutter, but I love clutter. It's just, you know, you want to also make sure you have enough active space for your Sims to use, so you're not just burdening them with counters that are covered in really cute little objects so that they can't actually cook. But this house is big enough, there's enough counter space that it actually doesn't matter, which is really nice. So as you can see, I'm looking at wallpapers now. I actually went with patterned wallpapers all the way through this room, which is really crazy for me. I like never use pattern wallpapers, but I thought it just kind of tied the cottagecore together with all the really simple furniture. I was thinking like, oh, maybe the pattern will be too much, but then once I put it up, I thought it really tied the room together in a really cute way, so that's what I did. And then for the kitchen, I went with a piece of CC wallpaper with pink subway tile and a white top, just to kind of tie the pink coloring into the kitchen area a little bit more. And here I am putting all my knickknacks, as I said. Knickknacks are probably the best part of a build for me. I just love them. I love filtering through all my different CC ones and like trying to find what I have. Like I have a little plaid blanket, so I put that on the ladder. Those ladders are also really cute, by the way. The like shelf ladders for blankets. I have kind of been wanting one, but they're really expensive, and so I found like a DIY where you can just like get some wood and do it. But I am also how do you say, building inept in real life, so I may have to find someone to help me actually build it, because I'm not spending $200 on one, but I'm also not spending even more than that to save my finger after I've accidentally cut it off, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't really trust myself with a saw. So anyway, yeah, I'm just putting lots of little knickknacks here. I like to make it look like my Sims have different hobbies and interests. So I put a globe for travel, I put a hat. I like to put different bins because obviously in real life you have to put a lot of storage things in your house because we have a lot of stuff. I don't know about you guys, I have a lot of stuff, and I recently moved, and let me tell you, the amount of stuff that I have, and that's with me leaving a lot of my stuff at home. That's the craziest part. I have so much stuff, and I even like left probably a quarter of it at home at my parents', so yeah, pro tip, when you move across the country, get rid of some stuff, because dear God, I have so much of it, and I didn't realize how much of a hassle it would be to pack until I actually had to do it. Anyway, oh, I also got these really cute CC magazines. They're probably one of my favorite details in the room because I love when like it's just like a sim face on a magazine, because it really just feels like, oh, this is a real model in a real world. I love making my sim worlds feel a little bit more realistic. And I also love the apartment that we picked here. This is one of the ones in the Arts District. They're so big and like roomy that I really like to play with how apartment-y they feel, because like some of them, like they really do feel like much more than an apartment. They feel like actual homes. Like honestly, this probably has more tiles than a tiny home or a micro home, but yeah, I don't really know. Some of them are too big for me. I actually like to divide them. I think a couple builds ago in Room Reno, I actually divided one little apartment into two really tiny apartments, and I just wanted to see how much I could make use of the space and really just play with my limitations, because I find that I am the most creative with my building when I actually have to like fight against a certain limitation of like tiles or budget or, you know, stuff like that. So as I kind of worked around that, it made me, I think, a little bit more creative with that build. And with this one, it was just trying to make a city house feel really like cottagey and like foresty and springy, because I think the thing was with apartments, we always assume they're going to be really modern and like really, I guess, like not really homey, because like cities tend to be more modern, you know, stuff like that. But I feel like when you look at these houses and these apartments, they're brownstones, which is typically an older building, and they're really beautiful buildings. If you've never seen a brownstone in real life, you should definitely look one up. They're one of my favorite types of buildings in cities, and brownstones, because they're older, really do well with a kind of older, charming, more homey aesthetic, just because the buildings themselves are a little bit older. And I think that this build kind of proves that, like, it can be really, really cute. So here are our final pictures. I think it turned out really adorable, and I hope you liked it. Be sure to like and subscribe. Bye!